anyone's been reading some of the major astronomy magazines, they would have been telling you about the disappearance of one of Jupiter's equatorial cloud belts. Normally when we look at Jupiter through a small telescope, you see these two bands, two lines across it, and the south equatorial belt from time to time disappears. And it's actually, I've heard just very recent days, Dave, that it's reappeared again, or starting to reappear again. So it'd be worth keeping an eye on Jupiter if you've got a reasonably good quality telescope and the air's not too unsteady, which is a bit rare up here because we normally have quite a bit of turbulence. But yeah, have a look at Jupiter if you've got a good night, and yeah, study the belts, see what they're doing. The moons are always interesting, even if the atmosphere is not the best. Concentrate on the moons, they're always worth a look. It'll be getting lower as we go into summer. As we head into early next year, it'll start getting lower. That means coming through thicker air, so not as good. So I'd take advantage of in December while it's still up at a reasonable altitude, and observe as early in the evening as you can, even before it gets dark if you can. It's the best time. The other planets are fairly elusive. You've got Mercury, Mars very low in the west after sunset. Mars is almost gone. In fact, it'll disappear. Mercury will also disappear during December. The morning sky, we've got Venus and Saturn, and they'll be quite good for a while. Saturn will get up away from the sun a bit. The rings are opening up, so if you want to have a look at Saturn's rings, from next year it'll be quite, or even December or into next year, the rings will be quite good again. So yeah, need a reasonable telescope, as long as it's reasonable quality. And again, as I said, if you get that steady air, so probably with Saturn what you're best to do in December is observe it early on, just a bit before dawn, and then sort of observe into the light, as it starts getting into the twilight, because then it gets higher. So away from the horizon, so less sort of distortion. So Venus, excuse me, Venus has reappeared in the morning now. So Venus will be the morning star well into next year. It's actually quite good now through a telescope because you can see the crescent phase. Looks like a crescent moon. So that phase will gradually fill out. It'll get sort of fuller in phase, but smaller in size because it's now ahead of us. It's moving away ahead in its orbit. Venus probably rising about 3 AM or around about then, and Saturn would be rising now, yeah, a little bit before that, probably 2 AM. And they'll be, Saturn, as I said, is moving further from the sun. It'll come into the evening probably by about February, March. Venus will stay in the morning. It'll sort of follow the sun down. So yeah, those two in the morning. And probably the other main thing, Dave, comet-wise, it's a bit quiet at the moment. There's only one comet of reasonable brightness. That's a comet called Hartley 2. That's sort of visible most of the night actually by December. And you'll need to look near the star Sirius. Now, as I like to say, it's a very serious star, that one. Also known as the dog star. And you can see it now sort of mid-evening over to the east, just to the right of Orion, the Orion constellation. People are often familiar with the middle part of Orion as a saucepan. So look to the right of there, a bright white star, you can't miss it, probably twinkling because it's low down early on. And that's, yeah, just the comet is sort of below that if you're looking to the east. Probably the best thing, Dave, other thing in December will be meteors, and we've got a couple of showers. The main one is the Geminid shower, comes from Gemini, that's how it gets the name. It's a fairly good one every year, fairly reliable, one of the more reliable showers, and that's also one of the few that's visible reasonably well before midnight. So yeah, keep an eye out for those. Coming from the northeastern sky, sort of mid to late evening. And the other shower is a shower called the Puppet Valence. It's not a really well-known one, fairly erratic, unpredictable. The main sort of part of it is around the sort of second week of December, so keep an eye on that. Might see some fireballs out of it. It's always hard to say with these ones, they can be hard to predict. But yeah, not big numbers, but as I said, make up for it in spectacular sort of display. So keep an eye on that one too. That's Puppis Vela area. That's sort of in the southeast of a late evening.